where our grandchildren are, and I started writing books. The first one was Eat, Chew, Live, and that is how to prevent obesity, diabetes, and how to eat healthy. The second one was for those who already have type 2 diabetes, how to reverse it, again through diet. I have a website, drjohnonhealth.com. I don't sell any supplements or programs. I only have information. I don't have any commercials on my site either. 9 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. So I looked into that one and I wrote the next book, Surviving Cancer. When I was giving a talk about 3.5 years ago, I was asked the following question. An average age of an adult with cancer is 60 plus because it takes accumulation of mutations for over 6 decades to have a cancer cell that can become cancer. Whereas the average age of a child with cancer is 6. The child has not lived long enough to accumulate mutations. So why does the child have cancer? So I researched that and I published my last book last month, September. It is called When Your Child Has Cancer. I have 2 explanations why a child may have cancer. In fact, what I feel is every one of us has cancer cells in our body. It is like a cancer stem cell. A stem cell is a mother cell that can produce baby cells. If you think about it, every human being is the product of a stem cell that was formed when the sperm fertilized the egg. That's one single cell. Do you know, this is out of curiosity, do you know where the fertilization takes place? It does not take place in the womb. It takes place in the fallopian tube through which the ovum is coming down. The sperm has to get in there, fertilize it. It takes 6 days of journey through the tube before the ovum, now it is fertilized ovum called zygote, is implanted in the womb. Now, the interesting part is, by the time it is implanted, that zygote has 200 cells. Think about that. It is journeying through the tube. So how did it know to divide? It is dividing on its own. Now, let's go back to cancer. Cancer is something similar. One stem cell decides to keep on dividing. So if you have a stem cell, every one of us have stem cells. Otherwise, you will not be able to heal anything. When you have a wound, a cut, you need new cells. Stem cells produce new cells until the wound is healed and it stops producing new cells. Whereas in cancer, it will keep on producing. That is cancer. So we have stem cells, something goes wrong in a child, and the stem cell, when it is activated, it cannot stop. That is why a child has cancer. You don't need mutations. You have stem cells with a defect or stem cells in an abnormal place, what I call orphan stem cells. When they get a signal, they don't know when to stop. Because most cells in our body stop when the neighbors tell them, no, we don't need you anymore. There is not much space. But in a cancer stem cell, they cannot listen to the neighbors. I know I'm talking too much, so I will stop.
No, go ahead. I'm finding it very fascinating. I mean, you're breaking it down in terms of that. I had a question about recently. Okay, you've gotten the death of Alex Trebek from pancreatic cancer, and it seems, in my observation, at the age of 80, people have Congressman Lewis also died at the age of 80 from pancreatic cancer. And I'm wondering if there's some correlation of what that's all about, or I mean, 80, and I think I've had, well, I don't think so, but I've had other people that I knew who passed away from pancreatic cancer, and it hit at the age of 80 or somewhere thereabouts. I don't know if you know anything about that, but it's just curious element that way.
Well, if you look at, November is the National Diabetes Awareness Month.
Okay.
People who have type 2 diabetes have a higher incidence of pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, colon cancer, endometrial cancer. Why?
Okay.
Now, people who have diabetes also suffer greatly from COVID. They are not more prone to get COVID, but when they get it, it is more severe. They end up in the emergency, the ICU more, and they need ventilation more. Why? So it is, I can explain that this way. Which one do you want me to explain, the cancer part or the COVID part?
Actually, I don't know. I think I like both of them. I mean, I want to hear about them. Yeah.
Since we are in the middle of pandemic, let me talk about COVID first, and we'll go on to cancer. Okay. When somebody the first thing is the COVID germ travels through the droplet. If you want to know what droplet is, you go in front of a mirror and breathe on the mirror. The mirror gets cloudy. Why? Because water vapor is coming out from your lungs through your breath. And each water molecule there can carry a germ, that is a COVID germ. That is what the water droplet is all about. Now, if you are in front of a person who is infected, when they breathe, when they cough, the droplets are flying up to 4, 5, 6 feet. If you are in that zone, you breathe in the germ. It gets into your sinuses. That is where it latches on to a cell. It has got 2 arms. One arm catches onto the door, the other arm produces a hole. It's like a drill on the cell wall so that it can get in. The virus cannot multiply itself. So it takes over the multiplication machinery of the cell and then reprograms it to make copies of itself. Now, in order to make copies, the cell needs energy and somebody to promote. The cell can use glucose to produce energy. So if you have a high blood glucose level, there is energy available for the cell to produce more copies. When your blood glucose level goes up, it stimulates your pancreas to release insulin. Insulin wakes up all the workers inside the cell called enzymes and activates them and promotes their work. That means the person with high blood glucose level and high level of insulin will produce more copies of COVID-19 in the cell faster. So the cell then bursts because of too many copies of virus. It drops down into your lungs and it produces the same thing in the lungs. So you have more lung problems, breathing problems. You need to be in the ICU, you need a ventilator. And then most of the people who have long-standing type 2 diabetes also have blockage of the arteries. So the immune cells cannot come to the site to heal the wound. And you are in trouble. Is that clear?
Wow. Does anybody have a question for Dr. John about COVID or anything that you want to have a question? Nancy, do you have a question? For all that you share on Facebook, Miss Ernestine Wooten, do you have a question?
No, I don't have a question. She said no.
I wish I could have your health when I'm your age. This is amazing.
Okay, so, Dr. John,
yes.
They say that when people get COVID, it's a process where your system or your immune system overheats. It's just the activity that comes out of the process of the action, it overheats and it just multiplies the overheating process. Tell me, tell me a little bit about that.
Are you asking about the hyperimmune response?
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay. See, I mentioned that we can have defective stem cells. We can also have defective immune cells. Why people who have autoimmune disease, for example, joint issues, they don't have it from childhood. Many of them have it as they get older. Why is that? What is happening is we have defective immune cells in the body. At some point in time, they get activated. When they get activated, they can attack your own cells, because our immune system is designed in such a way that it should detect what is foreign and act on the foreign substances like a germ, not on our own system. But where do they get the training in order to detect what is normal, what is self, and what is foreign? And suppose that training was not right. There's something wrong with the training. But these active immune system stem cells, they are not activated all the time. They come online when they are activated. If by chance a improperly trained immune stem cell was activated, then you can have an autoimmune disease or autoimmune type of disease. So in COVID-19, the virus seems to be activating some of these defective immune system cells, and they are attacking just like an autoimmune response. Not everybody has it. Some people who are prone to have this kind of, they already have this immune cell, stem cell, but COVID seems to be activating those.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And there are questions, but I mean, the science of it. I mean, when you think about people who are asymptomatic and they don't have the active bug, but they can carry it and then, you know, impact others later, you know, like that. I mean, and the people who are, you know, don't have the kind of same immune system.
Does anybody else in the group have a question for Dr. John?
I do. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Linda. Can we see you?
Oh.
You got it.
All right, that's okay. We got your
There
picture.
I am. I just wanted to know, with on the news, they're saying that this winter is supposed to be cold, and for us to build up our immune system and prepare because of the flu and the cold and the COVID. Do you have any suggestions on how to better prepare ourselves? When we go out, we're told to wear a mask, but you know, people aren't doing that. But do you have any ways of dealing with building up the immune system? Any suggestions?
Well, there are two parts to that. One is to have immune system. Immune system consists of an antibody part and a cell part. There are white cells and there are antibodies.
Right.
So the first question is, how does the immune system work? The first is the cell. There's a roaming cell. It goes all over the body. It is constantly traveling, looking for anybody who is creating trouble.
You're right.
Whether it is a virus or a bacteria or a cancer cell, or anybody have a damaged cell that needs to be repaired. Then it picks up a part of that protein and brings it to the resident unit. That is the lymph node that you see the doctor is checking your neck. That is looking for lymph node.
Right.
And this traveling white cell will bring the protein to the resident cell. They produce the antibodies. These antibodies have two functions. One is to prevent the germ from infecting more cells. So it blocks the attachment part. In the COVID, there are two, I said there one attachment and one drill. The attachment can be blocked with an antibody, and that is what we are trying to get from the immunization. Now, the second is this antibody will mark the offending agent or the germ so that the killer cells of the immune department, just like Jerry will know more about that, there is a police force, an army of killer cells
Mhm.
They have to be gone. They have to identify what the agent to be killed. They don't want to kill the normal cell. They want to kill the
Right.
offending agent.
Right.
So you need to have the potential to have the antibody production, potential to have the white cells, killer cells on the ready. That is where the immune supplement or nutritional supplement comes in.
Right.
Because human body needs over 100 different nutrients for healthy functioning. The second part is just because you have the army unit, they need to go to the place where the problem is.
Right.
You need to have a vehicle, you need to travel, and in the body, everything goes through the bloodstream. So if your heart is not functioning, if your blood vessels are blocked, and it cannot go there. So that is why you need to have a healthy body along with a healthy immune system to take care of whether it is COVID or cancer or infection. Our body can take care of it.
Right.
So the maximum number of cancer cells in the body, do you know when you have it? When you are in the womb of the mother. Because one cell, as I started early, multiplies to produce 30 trillion cells in a matter of 9 months.
Mhm.
So mistakes happen. So stem cells, cancerous stem cells are there, but 99% of those are destroyed before you're born. Why? Your immune system is capable of taking care of it.
Right.
So then why do we have cancer? Because suppose the cancer cell multiplies at a rate faster than the immune system can kill them.
Mhm.
That is where the glucose and the insulin, just like it promoted the COVID multiplication, it can also promote cancer cell multiplication. That is why people with type 2 diabetes have higher incidence of pancreatic cancer and other cancers.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. This has been very informative.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
asking the question. That's a very good question.
That is a good question. But so, and from what I understand from your answer, the immune system, I mean, exercise is a way to develop or cultivate your immune system, or because the army has to come out to defend against the threat. And so the best way is a healthy immune system. I mean, is there something that could be done to assist the immune system, or some activity or something like that?
Well, let me give you this answer. When the Native Americans were surveyed about 100 years ago, they found that they had practically no cancer and very rare incidence of type 2 diabetes. So everybody said maybe they don't have as many older people. But in 1900, they did a survey, they looked at it, and they found there were 10 times more Native Americans over the age of 95 or 90 to 95 compared to white Americans. Yet they had practically no cancer and very rare incidence of type 2 diabetes. Why? Their immune system must have been fine. They also had multiple bacterial infections. Infectious diseases was very common. Yet they did not have, so they survived all that. Why? Because they had very healthy immune system. Why? All you have to do is look at the way they ate. They moved from one food source to another. They did not stay in one place. So imagine the variety of vegetables, fruits, animal products they ate. That is what you have to do. What they did not eat was grains and grain flour products because they did not stay in one place to cultivate grains. But they ate everything else. So as Jerry was saying, you can eat 3 or 4 variety of vegetables and each one is giving you a different nutrient. If you take supplement, you are getting a different nutrient depending on what is available in your regular food. So each one helps. So whatever you can do to boost up your immune system is the best way to live longer and healthier.
Right. The immune system is supposed to fight for us.
I'm sorry?
I said the immune system is really supposed to fight for us.
Exactly. That is what protects you.
Yeah,
If you
that's
don't
what
have
the
good
choice
immune
is.
system, you are in trouble.
That's true.
Yeah,
Thank
we're in
you. I
trouble.
could talk to you all day. This is so interesting.
Yeah, we
Thank
could.
you.
Yeah.
Anybody else has a question? Because this is precious
No,
time
this is
with Dr.
vital
John.
information
Yes.
at such an important time.
Yes.
I mean, I'd love to hear more about your story of your personal fight. I'd like to
story
hear
of
more
what?
about that. I'd like to hear more about your personal fight with cancer and how you how you overcame it like
You
that.
have to get him on another show. That'll be good.
Well,
I have a question.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just
Okay.
learned that my dad has stage 4, I think it's pancreatic cancer.
Yes. I'm sorry to hear
So
that.
what can he do now? And I know there are some cancers that are fast acting and others aren't. Is that one of them? And what can he do? Because he's in Jamaica, and like the medication is very difficult and expensive for him to get. So what natural ways can he go about addressing that?
Well, I cannot comment on his treatment or his prognosis. Okay. All I can do is, as he asked, what did I do? When I was diagnosed, I asked the question, why did I get it? What can I do to control it? And most often, even if you are considered a cancer survivor, what that means is, based on the present testing, they cannot find a cancer cell. That does not mean you are completely free of cancer cells in your body. There are some there still hiding. So what I did not want to do was feed them. If I feed them, they will multiply faster. But if my immune system can control it, then I can survive. Anybody with cancer remission, what that's saying is their immune system is now balancing the cancer growth. It can keep it under control. So that is what we have to hope for. So the best thing you can ask your relative to do is control the intake of grains and grain flour products, because cancer cells exclusively use glucose to produce more cancer cells. Okay? Whereas our muscles can use fatty acid to produce energy, cancer cells almost exclusively use glucose. So if you provide less glucose, the cancer multiplication rate is slower. And the doctor may be able to control whatever existing cancer cells are there with medications or less medications. Now, go ahead.
My question is, so are you talking about artificial sugar or natural sugars?
The artificial sugar does not provide any benefit. There's nothing wrong with regular sugar. Most of the glucose in our body is not because you're eating sugar. Most of the glucose is produced when you eat a product like wheat, rice, corn. When they are digested, they are absorbed into the body as glucose. The problem comes by the terminology, the association of sugar, blood sugar and table sugar. Blood sugar is glucose. That comes mostly from grains. Table sugar is sucrose. It is half glucose, half fructose. They are not the same. Blood sugar is not the same as table sugar. Otherwise, every diabetic, all they have to do is avoid table sugar and your diabetes should get better. That does not happen, because the blood glucose comes mostly in our diet from grains. 100 years ago, the percentage of energy from carbohydrates in our diet was less than 35%. Now it is 50 to 70%. Think about this. When is the last time you had a meal or a snack without a grain flour product?
Yeah, that's really good.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
I commonly say, if nature intended grains for humans, we would have had beaks and the ability to digest the chaff. We don't.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
phenomenal.
That was phenomenal.
Come on, I know there must be questions out there.
Yes, any questions?
Dr. John, I mean, your information.
Yes, I have a question. And Renee, I'm very sorry to hear about your dad. That's a devastating piece of news, so I'll be praying for you and your father. Dr. P, this is Donna Ford. I'm curious about the people that have had the COVID and they have survived. Are the survivors of COVID going to be permanently damaged by the disease, or can they eventually recover fully? What is your perspective on that?
Well, when you have the COVID, you have the germ itself and then the immune response. And some of these immune response we talked about early, hyperimmune response. So it all depends on the COVID virus seems to be affecting multiple organs depending on your own susceptibility. So which organs are damaged? How deep is the damage? How much is your recovery process? How much is the healing process? How fast is your immune system coming back? And how is your general health and well-being? All this can determine how long you are going to suffer. Then there are the long-term sufferers right now. So each organ is involved. There is kidney, there is brain, and other organs involved. How much is the damage and how soon that can be repaired? So each individual is going to be different, and you have to keep watch on it. That's all I can say.
All right, thanks very much.
This is something new. We are still learning about this illness. That's the problem.
Right. Another question, Dr. John. When I was a little boy, my father used to tell me when I eat the meals, he said, slow down and chew your food. Slow down, chew your food. And your book, you mentioned eat, chew, live. Is there a particular indication behind that?
Yes, because if you look at the increasing obesity in every part of the world, to me, it is because of two things, or most importantly, you're eating so fast. You're not taking time. Why are you not taking time? Because the type of food you eat does not require chewing. If you look at nature, for an adult to get nutrients from, is there any food there that you can eat without chewing?
No.
No. Why? Why do we need to chew? Well, let me ask you this example. I may have talked about this last time. When you are thirsty, can you predetermine how much water will it take to quench your thirst?
Mm-hmm.
No. And when you start drinking, how long will it take to quench your thirst? A few minutes. By the time your thirst is quenched, the water is still in your stomach. It has not been absorbed yet. So how did the brain know you had enough water to quench your thirst? If you have been exercising, you will drink more. If you are not, you may take a few sips. So, but the brain controls your intake at the exact time. How? What I'm suggesting in the book is, as you are drinking, your taste buds are not only detecting what you are drinking, whether it is coffee or water or wine, whatever, it's also metering how much is going down. And that information is sent to the brain. The brain already knows how much is your water deficit. When the intake matches the deficit, your thirst is quenched. There is a similar mechanism for solid foods also. And in order for the taste buds to detect it, you have to release it at a certain rate. That is where chewing comes in. When you chew, you release the nutrient, your taste buds can identify, record it, send the information to the brain. When you're hungry, that first bite of food tastes so good. But after a few minutes, the intensity of enjoyment goes down. Why? Your brain is trying to tell you, we had enough nutrients from this particular food. All you have to do is look at toddlers. You will see that they eat only when they are hungry. They pick and choose what they like. Again, going back to the enjoyment that you looked at. And when they are satisfied, they stop, regardless of what is left on the plate. Why? Because they depend on the satisfaction, not on the fullness. As when we become adults, we are told not to waste any food. There are starving people elsewhere in the world, so eat for them. How does it help them? I don't know, but you still are conditioned. As you get older, when you're hungry, you put on the plate the same volume of food, whether you need it or not. And once you put it on the plate, you're going to finish it. So if you can eat that, go ahead.
No, I've been getting a lot of positive feedback. The club wants you back. So we want to bring you back to speak to the club. But I have to interrupt because I've got a few more speakers, but I will bring you back for those who want to stay on. I know Elton has 50 questions, but we'll come back. So I'm going to do Renee next because exercise to keep that immune system, and then I'll bring you on, Jeannie. So Renee is also a U.S. Army veteran. Thank you for your service. And she looks really young, but she's done a whole lot of things. So come on, Renee, tell us about exercising and how to keep that immune going so that we can fight this COVID thing. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I am actually very happy to kind of hear what is it Dr. John? I don't want to say
Yes.
that. Okay, Dr. John and Jerry had to say, because it all just comes together. And what I do is the physical aspect of it, as Claire mentioned. I'm sorry, my name is Renee Jones Hudson. I am with Island Jam Fitness, and I'm actually transitioning from Virginia to Georgia, actually restructuring my business. I am a certified personal trainer. And like I was saying, Dr. John and Jerry actually just touched on two of the major aspects of fitness, you know, and it's to be honest, if I were to say which part is more important, the diet is really the key to dialing in your health and wellness. Everything plays a role. It is in concert, but you know, one won't work without the other, but I feel that the diet is mostly what's the key player in you having a healthier lifestyle. You know, like Jerry mentioned earlier, you know, at least 30 minutes to an hour a day. If you're doing strength training, that might take a little longer. I tend to lean mostly to strength training, but it's not primarily just weights. It's inclusive of body weight strength and actual physical weights. So learning from Dr. John was really insightful, because I actually think a few months ago, before they even know COVID was COVID, I actually think I had COVID. I literally, like, one night I was sitting working at my computer and I just had my nose running. It just started out of nowhere. I didn't have any sinus infection or anything, just started running. So I thought I had a nosebleed. And the next day I felt like I had gotten ran over by an 18-wheeler. I went to the doctor and they told me I didn't have strep and I didn't have the flu, and they didn't know what was wrong with me, and they just treated me for pain. So we actually isolated, only because we didn't even know we were isolating, but my husband kept my daughter away from me, and I was in the bed for about a week and a half, just trying to recover over this crazy feeling. But I feel like because I was in good shape, I generally eat right. Generally, I have a chronic illness. Well, I'm not going to claim it. It's in remission. I already have a experience with a chronic illness, so I have to eat a certain way anyway. So I feel all of that is kind of helped me fight off whatever it was. The symptoms were very, very similar to COVID. So just undiagnosed, I think that's what it was. But I feel like with with having a really good diet and exercise, that's really key. And I would venture to tell you, because when I first got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, I walked out of the hospital with literally a shopping bag of medication. And I was like, there's got to be a different way. I'm not doing all this medicine. And I did research, and all it took was me changing my diet. And I did that for years. And without taking medication, I was able to put that thing in remission. So, yes, food is our medicine. Our medicine is in the ground. I truly believe that. It's just that we're so dependent on the quick fix that we turn to. I'm not saying don't take medicine, you know, because sometimes, you know, like I need a jump start. Sometimes I just had an episode the other day, but because I was in so much pain, I did go back to the doctor just to get that quick fix, but I got off of it and then restarted what I know worked. So, you know, God knew what he was doing when he created all these things. And our food is really our food is our medicine. And eating is an important, how you eat is really vital. Like I really enjoyed Dr. P's presentation, because it touches, a lot of people don't understand how our dental health, it also ties to our mental health and our physical health. So eating right, we should at least be chewing, for what I learned anyway, for at least 25 minutes, you should be chewing a piece of food. Like take your time and chew the food. Let all your teeth get involved with helping you digest it properly. So thank you, Claire, for this opportunity to speak. Thank you, Dr. John, and thank you, Jerry, for your presentations, because I learned a lot. I know, Jerry, I wasn't on mostly for yours, but I was trying to do mom and do this. So, but I heard you, and I filled out your online assessment. So thank you, Dr. John. And I would love to hear you again, because it's hard to teach my, you know, older, no offense, my dad, people in my dad's age, you know, to make a transition from what they know or what they think they know now to fix things. But I'm just going to try to relay the message anyway. What you told me, I'm just going to try it, and, you know, see if he'll take heed. But thank you again. And thank you, Claire, for the opportunity.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. And Renee gave us these burpees on the last, and we realized that we were not in shape at all. So we need to come back and have that conversation. But I'm so excited to have Jeannie, and she's going to introduce herself. And I do have your father's picture if you want me to flash it on the screen.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And while I'm doing that, please introduce yourself. Yeah.
Great hat. Great hat. Love it.
I told her that
Well,
too.
thank you very much. Yeah, and how I hit into all this health stuff, because I'm going to be talking about home-based business. But the way that I connect in there is that I'm actually a third-generation home-based business. And this was all started by my grandfather in the early 1900s. He was a chiropractor. So hence health and healthy living and all of that. So I've had a good example all my life. Claire, how much time do I have just to stay in time for you?
We have time for those who want to stay,
Okay.
and for those who want to leave. You know, we're here to listen. Maybe 10 minutes.
Okay. Now I'm on the screen. Can you put everybody on the screen for just a minute? Because I have a question for everybody, so they can raise their hand.
Sure. 1 second.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
Just carry on. We'll do that.
You want to see the veterans?
Okay. Well, my question is, how many of you were normally, pre-COVID, normally a home-based business? And if somebody, if somebody can count for me, that would be great. Renee, did you have a studio or? Okay. And I don't know who else was on. Dr. John, you have an office?
No, I'm retired.
Oh, okay. Okay. So technically you're home-based.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me go quickly through some tips for anyone in business, but focusing on home-based. And then I have some other questions if we have time. First of all, you want to find a quiet place to set up your business or make your calls. And it's more important now with COVID because a lot of you are home based and never thought you would be. It's like the moms who are homeschooling and they never thought they'd have to do that. This is an entirely new environment that we're in. However, all of that said, like I said, I, for the most part, have been a home-based business for a really long time. I used my converted laundry room. So what was that? 8 foot by 10 foot? We just put the washer and dryer in the garage. I used that as my mini office. I ran my public relations company from my home, from that laundry room. Okay, so how can you find space to remain professional but be able to work? And so at least I'm out in California, and a lot of the larger houses, the newer houses, have a walk-in closet. So you could set up a desk in the middle of your closet. You can still get to your clothes. Or you might consider going out in your garage. I know a lot of you are East Coast and it's going to be cold when the winter comes, but maybe get a space heater so that you can actually make your phone calls with privacy, or sit in your car. Do whatever you have to be professional. Then what you want to do is expand your network. You want to maintain the contacts that you already have. Now, and then you want to grow it. But what I did, what the Lord led me to do about 2 weeks into the COVID situation where my full-time job department got postponed and put off and all this other stuff, I started reaching out to everybody. I started texting everybody who took text messages. And then I went to Facebook and I went to LinkedIn and I went to Messenger and I asked them, how are you doing in this situation? Is there anything I can pray for you about? And that really helped people. They were thanking me. It was a way of reaching out to them. And I was doing it genuinely from my compassion, from my heart, but it couldn't help but help the business as well. So then you want to take advantage of the many remote networking groups or seminars that maybe normally charge a higher amount, but they're free during COVID-19. Why not take advantage of that? And then collect contact information from everyone you meet. That's why whenever I can, I put, here's my contact information, put yours in there. And for what it's worth, Renee, I don't have your information. And I don't think I do. It might have been from the other call. But the point is, you collect the contacts that you've made. And even in a seminar, you can get to know people within the seminar. However, a little word of advice, always ask their permission before you add them into your mailing list or a mailing campaign. I believe this is now required in the state of California, but it's a nice touch that people really appreciate it when I do it. Always encourage follow-up invitations to your social media platforms. In other words, I don't want to lose you. Can we connect on LinkedIn? Can we connect on Facebook? Can we connect on Instagram? What's your handle on Instagram? That way you won't lose people as they move around. And they do move around. I used to collect the business cards and then the person's no longer at the business. And that's when I started doing it with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a little bit more professional and it's a little more old school. But the point is, whatever platform your audience is on, what you need to do is connect with them. And then help others. Learn to give referrals to those you meet. Ask them about their business first. And I'll take the example of a Chamber of Commerce. You go to the Chamber of Commerce and you meet Claire. Claire, what do you do? And you let Claire explain what her business is about. And then she will ask you about yours. It's more important about the other person, not yourself, even though in theory you're there for business. And then you try to think how to reach out to people. And I'll use, Gary's not on the call anymore, but I'll use him as a perfect example. I had a dentist thing that I was going to share, but with Gary, what I gotta look at my notes. Seriously, he's an author. Oh, the topic that he speaks or has in his book, that tipped 2 different coaches that I know who would benefit from at least having a one-on-one with him, if not connecting with his book. That's what networking and being really successful with referrals is all about, and become known as a resource. It's going to help you in your business. These are all important things that are in my one of the books that I wrote, See Dick and Jane Start a Home-Based Business. This tells you the details in a fun way of what you need if you have a business. And I focused on being professional and growing your business because home-based businesses, oftentimes it's not a good thing to be a home-based business. Oh, well, you're not professional, or, you know, the attitude isn't there. I think that's going to change with COVID because so many people got stuck being home-based, and we figured it out. Some of the aspects of being professional have relaxed. Like all of a sudden somebody's dog barks and we just laugh about it and go on. So I think that's been something, certainly the young people have taught me to relax. I'm just a joke, but it's serious. I'm the closet millennial on TikTok. Check me out. And you will see a very different person, but have fun with that. And then what you want to do, you've got these referrals, you've met new people. You want to find and build your tribe in, I'm going to do a little commercial here, in my mastermind groups. I run mastermind groups for business women where they help others by providing solutions, offering encouragement, and it's in a group setting. So I'm not the only one with answers. All of the members help themselves. The groups are limited to no more than 10 people, and it's my responsibility to make sure everybody gets time. But they have mutual support, accountability, brainstorming that energizes and renews everybody as they all move forward in life. So, and you can find me, I'll do my commercial, and then I want to go to ask some questions of the audience. If you can spell my name, you can find me on the internet. If you just Google my name, my website is the same, and I just checked it this morning. So, but I do have some questions because some of you are in business. And if we could switch the screen so I can see people, what business issues have any of you faced either pre or post COVID? What's changed?
I think you mentioned something about respectability, because when you work from home, like I was the vice president of a pharmaceutical, advertising agency. And from there to come to being home-based, people look at you different when you work from home. But yet, I think as an entrepreneur, I'm doing much more than I was when I was in the corporate world. Because in the corporate world, you just get a limited amount of things that you can do. But here now you've spread your wings and so I think what you said is true. It's really
Yes.
people that make a difference, and finding people who value you, value your services. I think that is key. And
Yes.
like Jerry referred me to you, so today we have you coming to speak. So I
And
think
I
referrals is
appreciate.
very important. Yep. And I think everything you said today was really valid. But I think that switch from working with an office, I had 50
Yes.
people reporting to me, and now, I have Elton. So when you move to that, and I think during COVID, everyone's going to experience that. It's a shock. It's a big shock when you don't have that office and the team and, all that jazz. Yeah.
Actually, for me, Claire, it ended up being fairly easy to make that switch because I work for a big, huge medical company too. And I had about 35 volunteers I was responsible for. And then all of a sudden, the volunteers weren't seeing their patients. So, but I was able to get right into the home-based business role. I had my office already set up, and I just went into that role. But you're absolutely right. A lot of people go from corporate and then they walk into the oh, gee, the living room needs to be vacuumed. I better vacuum it now, and so it is definitely an adjustment, but you keyed in on something. I think home-based businesses, if your office is in your home, you have more hours in the day to work your business. You don't have to commute to a job, which takes time.
I know. Elton always reminded me when I switched, and he said, the president of the United States works from home. So you're right. It is a very powerful position. But you need those tools. You need those tools to be able to operate. So you need to and everything.
Get my book?
But on that, on your book. Any questions for Jeannie? Because everybody is sending me messages that they have to leave. I know we went a little over on time, but I think it was worth it. So anybody has a quick question before we close? Renee, you're going to be moving. You've lost your beautiful studio. How do you feel about it?
I wouldn't call it a loss. I closed because I had to, but it was actually at a good time. It came at a good time so that I can restructure. I was not one that was too willing to do online, and it kind of forced me in that direction. So I actually welcome the change. So now what I'm doing with this opportunity is trying to fine tune how I can have both an online platform and a in studio. And if I can't do the in studio, I would still have the online platform to sustain me.
Excellent. And your positive attitude is going to get you very, very far. You call this an opportunity. Yeah. That is so key, Renee.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep. And I'm going to bring Jerry back. And I will definitely have Miss Gormick back for sure. So we'll see a lot of her. And Dr. John, we definitely want you back. So we'll try to find schedule. Okay. So I'm going to bring Jerry back. He's our keynote and honoree today. Thank you, Jerry, for your service and everything that you do. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I don't know what's happening to my background there, but anyhow. So thanks so much for the opportunity. You can see I use a green screen, I guess. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add. I did place in the chat box, I did place, there we go, placed a couple of links to some products that we've used very effectively for building immune system. And I did, last time I had done a video on one of those, I was just finishing that up earlier. So yeah, there's building the immune system is so very, very important. And so much to what Renee was saying and Dr. John, just the importance of food. You know, it seems pretty obvious, but the food that you eat, it's so important. Dr. Shackley always said, if you give your body what it needs in the way of food, and Shackley supplements basically our food, it will heal itself. And so that's so very, very important. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity to present, and look forward to seeing you all again soon, Monday night, I guess.
Yes, that's right. And I'm going to really very, 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 very quickly, if I can share these slides. Jeannie, do you want to talk about your father real quick? Can you see my screen?
I see your screen. I see my book and me.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I can't see him, but that's okay. He served in the Navy in World War II. His name was Donald E. Austin. He was most people referred to him as Don, but anything military, he was Donald E. Austin. He went right to the end. He was, he always said that. And what was interesting about his adventure in the Navy was it was during World War II, and he was on the USS Pope, which I think was a destroyer in the Pacific campaign. And very shortly into his time in the Navy, that ship was sunk, and he was rescued by the Japanese soldiers and placed in a Japanese prison camp in the Philippines. And he actually stayed there for 3.5 years. So his only regret, as he got older and the grandkids would ask him, or I would ask him, his only regret was that he didn't think he had fought for the country. And we always told him, just because you were in a prison camp doesn't mean that you weren't serving your country. And so that was his biggest regret. He always had a very positive attitude, and I'm thankful that I have inherited that. But thank you for allowing me to share his story too.
Yeah, I think that is a big story. Yeah, and thank you for his service. And that is, I'm just going to skim through this really fast because some of you are new to us. But what I really want to get to is on Monday, we've got our lovely Donna Foray, and we're doing a financial wellness talk with her. So if anybody wants to speak or attend, Jeannie, we'd love to have you. Just let me know. And Nancy, I don't know if she's still here, but if we could get her to sing again. We have a Netherlands author, Moneyfulness, and this is another event that we're having Jerry back, and we will be doing credit repair with Nicole. So if anybody is having challenges with their businesses and need finances, and as many of you know, a lot of the COVID grants you can't even get. So you might want to clean up your credit report and your bank. So that's coming up. I'm going to be doing Facebook Live all through Thanksgiving. So if anybody wants to promote any products, let me know. Christmas will be the same. And this is what I really want Dr. John and Jeannie and everybody to start thinking about next year. So we're going to be doing a family-owned business conference for families, because you might have a great business, but if your children are not picking it up, all that hard work and everything that you did and planned for is now gone. So training your children is just as important as everything that you've achieved. This is where we would like you to come back, Dr. John, in February, and I'll send you the dates. We're going to be doing a health and fitness conference. Renee, I don't know if we still have you, but this is something I'm going to be working very hard with you. And then, of course, our Women Business Empowerment, Linda Thompson will lead this conference. And then I'll be doing a home and bridal conference. Now, next year, we will not be doing the club, which is every week. So we'll be just doing conferences once a month. So I need a team. I need to put a team together because we need to have the curriculum. We need to get all this together. So if anybody wants to be on the team, please get in touch with me. And Elton will close us out with prayer.
Okay. Last things. Dr. Poothullil, I'd like to have you have a few last comments and address to the group. And you've been so insightful in your instructions. I'd love to hear from you that way.
Well, what I would like people to take it, you have to be in charge of yourself, just like Jerry mentioned in the beginning. So you have to take care of your health, regardless of what other help you may need from doctors and others. And it is equally important, as Renee suggested, exercise. You need to keep, it is not enough to have the immune system if it cannot go to where you want it, and it cannot help you. That's where exercise comes in. It keeps your circulation going so that your immune cells can go to the spot where the problem is. So take charge of your health and you can live a long, happy life.
Very good. I also want to say that each one of you that were on the call today will get a copy of this book, Eat to Live. And I'm hoping that it incites an inspiration about, further things of health and diabetes and preventing and taking charge of health. So I just want to share that with you. And I would like to talk with you further, Dr. John, about that and what that represents. Because, I think it's one of the best printed items about health and diabetes out there.
So we'll set up a time to talk to you.
Right.
But Dr. John has a new book. So while we're giving you the free book, we want you to buy his new book. Right. I'll make sure that as well. So can't wait to read the new book. Thank you for that.
With that, participating and being on this call today, and I hope something has been said, done, developed, or produced and enabled to help you get a better control of your health, an understanding about your life and your business, as well as your spiritual place and your exercise regime. So thank you all for today, and all veterans who participated. I appreciate you. We appreciate you, and we pray that you experience the full benefit of what we're saying about that. So without further delay, thank you so much. We'll have a prayer. Thank you, Lord God, for your grace and everlasting mercy, your guiding light and your strength and purpose. Give us, dear Lord, continued inspiration in all that we endeavor to do. And thank you, dear Lord, for the presence and the gift of friends and comrades, that we can overcome the challenges that we face. We'll continue to give your name the praise, the honor, and the glory in the matchless name of our risen King Jesus. Thank you, Lord God. Thank you. Amen. Thank you so much. Until we meet, sit, talk, discuss, present again. All the best. All the best. God be praised. Very good.